It is hot in Las Vegas now. Now we're up to 105 today. So I don't know what that is in Celsius, but forgot what that math calculation was. But we're getting there now. So hope everybody's doing well on this Tuesday. Thank you all for being here. We're going to get started because we've got an exciting presentation. I'm just excited about watching the presentation and seeing some new slides, and then I'm going to get fired up at the end, like you guys always see me do, and then we're going to have a discussion, and then I'm going to get off and I'm going to go buy some tokens and figure out how to get more notes. But anyway, just excited for this guy to give you guys, a firsthand glimpse of an opportunity from his perspective that is clearly different than mine and clearly different from a lot of yours, and that he's got um, dozens and dozens of years on Wall Street, and just understands where the influence is, understands where the big money is going, and can make better decisions about how all the markets kind of working in a specific area. And we're talking about a specific area, obviously, today, but just excited to have this guy on and can't wait to see what he has to say today and what new slides I get. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Carmine Perella. Carmine, there, buddy.
I'm here, Randy. Can you hear me?
I can, man. Thank you, bud.
Excellent. I appreciate that warm introduction, Randy. Welcome, everyone, to the presentation. Yeah, so as Randy said, you'll hear my voice. I'm a New Yorker. I moved down to Florida around 11 years ago. I live in South Florida now, but I spent over 25 years of my life on Wall Street. I was a commodity trader, yelling and screaming on the trading floor, executing orders. And then from there, I was registered with the NFA as a CTA, commodity trade advisor, where it was my job to trade other people's money. This is a lot different than being a stockbroker or working at Fidelity, where somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to buy IBM stock. What do you think?" "Oh, yeah, let's buy it." As a CTA, it was my job to trade the money. It was my job to find the trades and deploy the money into those trades. 100%, it was on me. Now, the reason I want to explain to you what I did and how I did it is I want you to understand my perspective on looking at opportunity I'm going to share with you. What you do as a CTA is you try to find all the evidence, fundamentally and technically, that an emerging trend is going to take place. And you look in a lot of different corners to find that information. And once you do, and once you build enough of a case that something really is going to take place, then you deploy a percentage of that money into the trade. You put your risk parameters in place, you put your stop losses in place, and now the trade is ready to go. Every 10, 20 years or so, a mega trade takes place. Something that most people can't see happening. There's forces outside of what people can see happening, and it shifts in a massive, massive way. We're talking about gold going from $350 an ounce to over $1,900 an ounce back in 2008, 2009. We're talking about crude oil back in the day going from $46 a barrel to almost $150 a barrel. I'm not talking about Iran and US right now. That's a completely different situation. But I'm talking about mega forces that took place that now have put gold at $4,700 as we speak, have now put crude oil at $70, $80, where it's no longer at $35. Things have shifted. I'm going to talk about an industry right now that is shifting really the consciousness of how things are done. And I'm going to explain to you what is really going on right in front of us in a massive, massive industry that most people don't even know is there. But they will over the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And we have an opportunity right now to get involved in something that is so ground floor. You're really going to be excited that you're on this presentation to know this now and not be somebody that knows this in another 5 or 10 years. So let me share my screen with you. And this presentation was put together to give you all the evidence that I found that we're looking at a massive opportunity. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is this is not investment advice, okay? So take a screenshot of this page. This is a disclaimer that this is not investment advice, but this is an opportunity that we're all excited about. And I'm sharing all this information with you so you can make an intelligent decision for yourself. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is sort of what is now going on as this new world of money takes place. We're talking about tokenization, digital assets, blockchain, and that kind of taboo word called crypto, right? What is crypto? It's just digital money. That's really all it is. Now, the industry has gotten a bad rap, but it's not going anywhere. Trust me when I tell you that. So let's look at what blockchain is. Blockchain, very simply, is an immutable digital ledger. What does that mean? It is peer to peer computers coming together to come up with the calculation for something. That's really all it is. And why they call it a blockchain is because once that calculation is finalized, it becomes a block and then it chains to another block. And that's where the blockchain comes from. If that information is ever altered, that whole chain would fall apart because then it wouldn't all add up anymore. Now, once it's on the blockchain, it cannot be altered. And that is really, really powerful to understand. Because back in the day, we would talk about them fudging the numbers or cooking the books or massaging the accounting and all that, all those kind of buzzwords we would say about what was going on, and you never knew what you could trust. Well, the blockchain is a digital ledger everybody can see. So what's happening right now is the application for it is really exploding. Finance, supply chain, medical records, titles and deeds, insurance policies, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you look at this screen, you'll see all the companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, all these logos, these companies are now embracing blockchain technology. And this is really where this is now moving as we move into this new sort of innovative, more technology, and a new way of having money supply. Now, one of the forces that's causing this to happen, what we call tailwinds on Wall Street, is the Trump administration. Whether you like him or not, the bottom line is about 3.5 months ago on 60 Minutes, he talked about what he was doing. He talked about unleashing this industry. And the Biden administration in the US was not unleashing this industry, but Trump is. And his justification is very simple. We want to keep it onshore. We don't want China to get the lead. And now he's just exploding this industry. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that he takes Bo Hines out of his administration and he now goes and works at the US dollar tether stablecoin. I'm talking about his new chairman of the CFTC, Mike Siegel, who comes from a crypto background. The Genius Act was just passed. And the list keeps going on and on and on. This industry is now getting unleashed. Now, when you see articles like the SEC ends regulation enforcement and calls tokenization innovation, you start to see that they're moving this in a completely different direction than the old administration. The NASDAQ receives SEC nod for trading in tokenized securities. This is massive. This is a massive credibility block that all of Wall Street can recognize. And now you're moving where the genie is out of the bottle. Now, we're going to talk about this mega new trend that's taking place called prediction marketing. If you've never heard of it before, trust me, you will very shortly. But what is prediction marketing? Prediction marketing is speculating on the outcome of future events using financial stakes. Well, what does that really mean? It means you're putting your skin in the game. You're telling people what you really believe by putting your money down. And you're using the wisdom of the crowd to come up with the answer to something. So think about a massive focus group, but instead of you getting paid to taste this or watch that, you're actually putting your money down. And it's really, really powerful to get to the answer to something. And I'm going to explain to you I'm going to show you all the evidence of how powerful this is in a second. But why is this different than gambling or betting? There's a couple of reasons. Number one, when you go to a casino or a sports book or a racetrack, you're going in with the odds already against you, anywhere from 16 to 22%. Prediction marketing is peer-to-peer, yeses versus nos. Yeses win, the nos pay them, and sometimes the yeses pay a small fee to the platform. Sometimes they don't even pay that. So it's even, it's fair. The other thing about prediction marketing is as the odds are changing in your direction, in your favor or against you, you can get in and out. So now what you're doing is you're not waiting to 100% of it for the outcome, for you to either make 100% or lose 100%. And the volume is exponentially growing and exploding because of that. Now, what happened was there was a website called Polymarket, which started in the US. And there was another website called Kalshi. And back in July, August, September of 2024, these websites really gained a lot of popularity. Why? Because they were showing a lot of money was coming in on President Trump's side compared to Kamala Harris during the U.S. presidential election. And what was happening is the polls and the pundits were telling us it was 50-50. But when you saw Reddit or you went on Twitter at the time, which is now X, you saw a lot of money was coming in on Trump's side. They actually called that race over 82% accurate. They called all 7 swing states in the United States. And even though the day of the election, the polls and the pundits were telling us it was 50-50, they knew that was not the case. So much so that in his Forbes article, Donald Trump Jr. talks about how we watched Kalshi to know my father won way before they called it. And he becomes a strategic advisor to Kalshi. And that was the first thing that was really starting to take place. A couple of months later, his company, 1789, invests into the poly market as well. So now you have the president's son sitting on both sides of these two players that are competing in prediction arena. But it gets even better than that. NBC News reports that Google integrate Kalshi and poly market predictions into its financial AI tools. And once you see something like this, this is a credibility piece that is undeniable. Everybody knows Kalshi. Everybody knows NBC News. So now you're getting in front of the consciousness of the population. Now, psychologically, you need to see something around 7 times before you even pay attention to it. So even though people are seeing Kalshi and poly market, they're really not paying attention to really what it means to them just yet. But then they start to see more and more of these articles starting to come out. Chicago Mercantile Exchange plans on launching sports contracts to compete with Kalshi. DraftKings and FanDuel are now jumping into the party as well. Why? Because they're losing a lot of market share to poly market and Kalshi. Kalshi and Fox partner up. Fox media platform integrates Kalshi data on politics, economics, weather, and culture. Another incredible credibility block that you can see that's undeniable. When you start to see Kalshi and Fox put together, when you start to see poly market, which was at the Oscars, on the bottom of the screen, you could put predictions in on who is going to win the next award. They did it at the Golden Globes as well. And now you're starting to see Kalshi and poly market start to permeate a little bit of the consciousness. How about this one? Kalshi crushes record with $14.8 billion in April volume as prediction marketing surges past $150 billion milestone. Folks, this is coming at us at a rate I've never seen before. I've seen 2 things that I've never seen before. Number one, their valuations have doubled and then doubled again in less than 18 months. I've never seen anything like that on Wall Street. And number 2, they're raising money at a rate from Wall Street that has never been done before. Kalshi just raised $1 billion and now has a valuation of over $22 billion. Poly market, and I'll show you basically on the next slide, raised $2 billion from the New York Stock Exchange, what we call International Continental Exchange, which owns the stock market. They used to call them ICE. They raised $2 billion for equity into poly market, and they've got over a $15 billion valuation right now. And you can see this is CNBC says prediction markets could hit $1 trillion in trading volume by the end of the decade, blah, blah, blah. Truth of the matter is I don't care about that. What I care about is look at that photo. That photo is the New York Stock Exchange. And that is a poly market banner hanging over the New York Stock Exchange. This is where this is now going. And when you look at these type of articles and that photo, you see something really big is happening right in front of us. But this is the last one. This is Donald Trump's Truth Social is launching a poly market competitor. So now you have the president and his own platform getting in this game as well. And now you're at a level where even though most people don't know this is happening, it's happening all around us. This is almost like coming to the ground underneath our feet at the time. This is an article in Forbes why billionaires are piling into prediction marketing. And in this article, it talks about how Kalshi is on the forefront of $1 trillion industry. $1 trillion industry. Not too many of those around. These are the 2 that started Kalshi. 29 years old, went to MIT together and then went to Goldman Sachs. They're walking around the financial district one night and they said, what is Wall Street if nothing more than future contracts? And the idea comes to them. These 2 are 29 years old and worth billions of dollars. They go to the CFTC and they get regulated and they get licensed as a derivatives market, a future contract. and they're going through all the legal fights because they fought state after state about it being gambling, and they're winning all these fights. Polymarket, on the other hand, did not want to do that, even though it started in New York City as well. And in 2022, they were banned from the US and in 9 other countries. And they made a massive, massive error. Well, now what they're doing is they bought an exchange, paid $112 million, and they're coming back to get licensed through the CFTC like they should have did from the beginning. And the reason why that was a massive error is Kalshi has over 85% market share basis Polymarket. And Polymarket 4 years ago was neck and neck with Kalshi. And they lost a lot of market share because of the way they did this. Here's the other massive force that's coming together, the other tailwind for this whole industry. 38% of anything we see on the internet is at risk of being fake. Now, that's cute because we're talking about the shark jumping out of the water or the cat dancing, but it's not cute when you're talking about politicians saying something they really didn't say, or showing photos or videos of things that are not real. I've seen videos where people are laying down in rubble, and the next thing you know, people walk by and pick the rubble up, and it was all fake styrofoam rock. That's scary. But that's what's going on right now. And it's really scary how nefarious you could be with this technology and really be using it for bad, not good. 54% of adults don't even watch the news. They use a social media platform of some sort. And 69% have no confidence that the media will report accurately and fairly anyway. Now, I know it says US on there, but there's a lot of international people on this Zoom, and I've spoken to a lot of them, and they told me the same thing is in their country. We've got a massive divide between the government and the media, and then the people all the way down here. And nobody trusts anymore. Nobody believes anything anymore. We need something that brings that back. And that's where predictive marketing comes in. They're finding 50% reduction in misinformation, 94% improve the accuracy. They're showing a better way to get to the truth. But then it goes a step further. This is the Federal Reserve research finds prediction market delivers forecasting value comparable to professional surveys and futures. They're using this on Wall Street as a financial tool to know what's going to happen next with interest rates, with CPI, with GDP numbers, with earnings reports, and the list goes on and on and on. And in this report, it talks about how they have called on the eve of the Federal Reserve meeting since 2022, they've called the interest rates better than their federal funds futures can do it. And that is where you go undeniable. This is not going back anymore. This is proven to be a better way of doing this. And that is powerful and exciting for everybody on this Zoom, because we're at the beginning of what could be a massive, massive industry for a very, very long time. This is the chairman of the CFTC saying prediction markets are one of the most exciting innovations in financial markets, and the CFTC has failed to provide guidance. That's a big statement. But then if you look on the bottom, it says CFTC staff issues prediction market advisory. Check this out. They're going to take the CEO of Polymarket and Kalshi, FanDuel, DraftKings, and around 30 other CEOs and put them together on an advisory board so that they can figure out how to govern this new exploding industry right in front of us. The way it typically works is the technology goes first and the regulatory catches up after. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now. They don't know how to govern this industry that's just exploded in front of them. And they want to make sure they put some guardrails in place before it goes off the rails. So let's talk about what the opportunity is for everybody that's on this Zoom. See, Kalshi and Polymarket, you can make money, but you have to be a customer. You can put a prediction in and you can make some money. But I'm going to show you an opportunity to get involved in the industry itself. Be at the forefront of what's going on, but be part of the industry. Back in the gold rush, there was two types of people. There were the people that ran out there to go find the gold, and then there were people that sold them the pitchforks and the shovels and the flashlights. We're going to show you how to be part of those people, not the people that go out and look for the gold. So what is Galactic? Galactic is a UK media company, And what they identified a few years ago was a few things. Number one, they watched what Polymarket and Kalshi were doing right and wrong. But they also identified that they were going after a B2C model. They were going after individuals to get them to their platform and go find something you're interested in. Well, Galactic, being a UK media company, identified that their customer base, which was these legacy media brands, their model was dying of subscriptions and advertising. People weren't reading the paper anymore. People weren't reading magazines anymore. You go to any doctor's office, there's no magazines to read. Why? Because people are playing with their phone. So how do you take this legacy media brand and re-engage their customer base and give them a new way of making money, right? Monetize their customers in a new way. So they said, what if we do a enterprise model where we do a partnership with these legacy media brands and we give them our technology to work with, and then we just do a rev share on the back end. And that's a brilliant model. And there's two main reasons why that's a brilliant model. Number one, your customer acquisition cost goes all the way down. And number two, your retention, your loyalty goes up. So what do? They go to a company called Aventis to build them a blockchain. Now, Aventis has built blockchains for Heathrow Airport, Vodafone, Egmatic Smile, PayPal, Shell Corporation, and all those other logos you see on the screen. And they said, build us a blockchain that's dedicated, designed just for prediction marketing. Why is this so powerful? Because Kalshi is not on a blockchain. They're just an exchange that's regulated through the CFTC. There's already articles written about how do we know we can believe the validity of their answers. Polymarket is on a blockchain called Polygon, but it's not dedicated just for prediction marketing. So they say, build us a blockchain just for prediction marketing validation. And they build them the predictor network. And now we have the only dedicated blockchain for prediction market validation. And that's real powerful. I'm going to show you how you have a piece, you can have an opportunity to own a piece of that digital real estate of that predictor network in a moment. So let's talk about a couple of their clients. They have a client called Time Magazine, which I'm sure everybody on this call knows who they are. They're one of the most iconic brands out there. Around the world, everybody knows Time Magazine, Man of the Year, and all the different things that they represent. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to take Time Magazine and Sports Illustrated, which is another contract they own, and they have this widget that goes on their 5 top pages of Time and Sports Illustrated. Anything that starts to trend, anything that keeps getting clicked on and people keep wanting to know more, the algorithm picks it up. It's like TikTok. It then goes over to compliance because we're going through the CFTC. We're getting licensed. You have a license in the next couple of weeks. And then it comes back as prediction questions. So now think about the difference. Instead of going to Kalshi and Polymarket, and there's over 4,000 questions up there and finding something you're interested in, this model will put questions in front of them that we already know they're interested in because we're following what they're looking at. That is really, really powerful. Now, another contract they have is with Grupo Salinas. If you don't know who Grupo Salinas is, they own over 80% of the media in Mexico. They own TV channels. They own radio stations. And we will have the only Spanish-speaking platform for prediction marketing going within the next 30 days. That's exciting. But let's go back for a second, because I love when people talk to me about credibility. I will tell you that Sports Illustrated is owned by Authentic Brand Group, a $28 billion corporation. And when I did my due diligence and found that they had backers like Blackstone and BlackRock and Bank of America, I knew right there that I could never do as much due diligence than they did. And I understood right there I had all the credibility I needed. Now, I did my own due diligence, don't get me wrong. But once you see something like that, trust me, you're not going to be able to do more due diligence than they did on this group of people that I'm explaining to you in a moment. Now, we're talking about a global plan. This is about the media in Latin America, in Asia. We're talking about going after cricket in India and what we call soccer in the US, but everybody else calls football around the world with FIFA. So this is a massive, massive opportunity. And just think about what Kalshi and Polymarket are doing, and they're doing it mainly in the US right now. There's no other place for them to do it. This is going to be a worldwide opportunity, and that is really exciting. So let me show you this quick video, and this is going to give you an understanding of just a taste of what the technology looks like for this opportunity we're going to talk about in more detail.
This is the noisiest decade in history. Every scroll, every click, every feed competing for your attention. Too much noise and not enough clarity. Predictor cuts through that noise. Predictor transforms media into markets. One swipe, one tap, one decision. From free play to real trades. Don't just watch what happens next. Predict and be a part of it. We partner with the world's most trusted media brands to turn headlines into insight, and insight into opportunity. We give predictors the opportunity to anticipate what's ahead, and the context to understand why it matters. Our AI assistant gathers the right information from trusted sources, faster, smarter, and with precision that cuts through the noise. This is the place where every question becomes a market, every prediction a possibility. The truth is hidden in plain sight. We empower you to find it. What will you predict?
Now, let me tell you why I'm so excited about this project. There's 3 lanes for this right now. There's the sports lane, people that bet on college football, NFL, football around the world, right? All the sports. Then there's the Wall Street lane, and we're going to talk about interest rates, and we're going to talk about, what's going to happen on the GDP numbers. And okay. But then there's this massive lane in the middle. And for the first time ever, you're taking the casual fan and giving them an opportunity to get involved. See, in sports betting, you got to know how the defense plays in the rain and the grass, and how does the guy hit in the cold and all that. But with this, you simply say, let's take reality TV for a moment. You could take the actual everyday casual fan and say, I think that person gets voted off next, whether it be Survivor or Dancing with the Stars, Amazing Race, whatever, right? Think about the housewives, but then think about all the things that happen on the daily, all the current events that just pop out of nowhere. That CEO that cheated on his wife at the Coldplay concert, right? That went viral within 2 hours. And everybody had 3 comments. If you read the comments, there were 3 comments everybody had. Does he step down? Does she get fired? And do they get divorced? That was what everybody was saying. So now you can take anything that happens and have predictions on it. And why is that so exciting to me? Because I am part of this digital real estate of the Predictor Network. And I'm going to show you how you can get involved in a moment. And why is that so exciting? Because you don't care what it's from. You don't care where the questions are coming from, but it now becomes an opportunity for volume to exponentially explode. See, the difference between gambling and prediction marketing is as the odds are changing, you could trade in and out of your predictions. I had one gentleman tell me on one football game on Kalshi, he predicted 7 times in and out. That's exciting compared to I have to wait to the end of the game to find out if I win 100% of my money or lose 100% of my money. See, now if the odds are moving in your favor, you take some money off the table. Or if it's going against you, you could just take a 10 or 15 or 5% loss. But what does that do for people like us that have an opportunity to be part of the industry? It causes exponential volume growth. And that's what Kalshi and Polymarket are experiencing right now. So let's talk about the team behind this. And why is this so important? Because I can tell you, working on Wall Street over 25 years, I could show you companies that did not do very well because the management team was terrible, even though I had a great product. And I could show you companies that are still around that the product's not that good, but the management team is incredible. The management team becomes everything when you get involved in these projects. So let's talk about some of these people on the screen and give you just a little bit of background about them. So Stuart Stott is the co-founder and CEO. He's got over 20 years experience in the UK media space, mergers and acquisitions and all kinds of things like that. But he also was credited in 2008 taking Daily Mail onto the internet and making it the largest English-speaking publication. Now, I will tell you, I've spoken to this gentleman on many occasions, been with him many occasions. He knows more about customer experience than anybody I've ever spoken to. And why is that so powerful? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the customer's experience, no matter what you're selling. If they don't have a good experience, they will go somewhere else. It's all about capturing them and then keeping them. Alan Vay is a co-founder, but Alan Vay is the Forbes 30 under 30 winner in 2021. That's all you got to know. He's got a master's degree in artificial intelligence out of Imperial College in London. Howard Mittman is the ex-CEO of Bleacher Report with a background in media and sports. John Hall, the chairman, and I've spent some time with John as well, the most impressive resume I've personally ever listened to. This gentleman ran Formula One, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, sat on the board of Blackstone. And he told me, he's a comment, there's something big going on here. It's almost like a buzz like back in the dot-com days. Because I can't get my head around it right now, but everybody wants in on this. And then, this was back in August, but now I really understand what he meant by that at the time. And then Maya. Maya's our chief compliance officer, twice named to the most 100 influential people in alternative investments. Just spoke at a Sigma conference in Dubai and then in Rome, in front of 30,000 people on compliance for prediction marketing. And there she is on stage. We've got an A team, and we've got an all-star cast that are running this and guiding the ship for us. And that's exciting to me. Okay, so let's get to the opportunity that's in front of everybody on this Zoom. What we are doing is decentralizing the Predictor Network. What does that mean? That means that nobody owns it as an entity, but we own it as a community. And what we're doing is we're selling the validator nodes to decentralize the blockchain. Remember when I talked about peer-to-peer computers coming together to come up with the calculation? That's what blockchain is. What validator node is that piece of software that's part of that validation process. And now you're part of the digital real estate of what this thing becomes. So you're going to get rewarded 3 different ways as a validator node owner. Number one, 37.5 million PRD tokens are dropped every night. We're going to sell 30,000 nodes in total. We've sold around 22,300 and something right now. So we've got less than 8,000 to sell. Now, for the next 9 years, those coins will be dropped every night to us, every year being cut in half. So they start, and then every year they cut from there to 9 years till all the coins are out. The second way, and this is really where it gets exciting, folks, each transaction recorded on the Predictor Network carries a cost of 10 to 50 cents. 5 cents gets burnt, it goes away, and the balance goes to all the node owners. Look at the volume Kalshi and Polymarket are doing right now, and look at the opportunity that could sit in front of all of us with just the transaction fees, as we're part of the validation process, that everything that goes through the Predictor Network goes through our validator nodes. And then the third thing is 5% of galactic profits are shared amongst all the node owners. The last thing I want to share with you is this. When I looked at this project, I saw the top 5 blockchain ecosystems: Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, Gala, and SUI. But look at the growth they've had at one point on the right side. Now, obviously, Ethereum's not at 4,700 anymore, but it was at one point. When I was a commodity trader, we would look at what's called a risk-reward analysis, right? We want to know, what is our downside compared to our upside opportunity? And you always look for a 5 to maybe 7 to 10 to 1 if you can find it. Put $1 down to make 5 or 7 or 10. I will tell you, I've never seen a better risk-reward profile than what we're looking at right now. Your downside is capped by what you pay to get in as far as a node owner, but your upside is unlimited. And the last thing is this. When I did the research for this, I found the top 17 coins were all utility coins. They all had an application within an ecosystem. They were all a currency within an ecosystem. That's what we have right now with the Predictor Network. Everything that goes through the Predictor Network will go through that PRD coin. That is our currency that moves our ecosystem around. And you have an opportunity to be a part of that digital real estate of the Predictor Network. That's what's in front of you. Get back to the person who invited you to this presentation. Get all your questions answered. Do your own due diligence. But I think I've laid out a pretty strong case of all the evidence of where this is going, whether we like it or not. I appreciate everybody's time. I'm going to turn it back over to Randy.
Awesome.
You there,
Thank
Randy?
you. Can you hear me, Cameron?
I can hear you, buddy.
Yeah. So a couple things. Just I love the group of Salinas slide. The fact that we are going to have the first Spanish translated prediction platform is amazing. Obviously, that's going to be the primary in Mexico, but you think about the world, and there's a lot of Spanish speaking. We underestimate, I think, or just we don't realize how big that is. So massive amount of headway. The other thing I was thinking about was that last slide. It kills me every time because I see Gala on there, and people when you're in projects like this and you get opportunities, for nodes. Think about if you were involved with us back, a year and a few months ago. A year and a few months ago, the token was 0034. I think it hit an all-time high. That was prior to our beta test with Authentic Brands, Sports Illustrated, SI.com, SI Predict, and the NBA Finals. That was just a little beta test. Obviously, it's gone down since then, and I'm talking to new people here, people that don't own or are looking at this as an opportunity. The people that have been here understand what I'm saying. But now we've got momentum and change again. We had huge momentum, and it doesn't matter in these kind of projects where you are in terms of, it's not a lifelong thing that the token may stay up at, like Gala, for instance, went to 78 cents. Can you imagine? It went to 78 cents for only 3 months. But if it's 78 cents here for 3 months, I don't need to do the math for people. It's not a matter of it always staying there. If you're involved in the project, then what you have at that time, you can take advantage of those ups and downs. And those ups and downs come, in this arena, in the crypto arena, they just do. And the momentum is created. It starts to get created by the community, which is happening now. We can see it in the token value over the last, maybe month. And that's just our internal, people starting to believe. Imagine when this launches and the belief hits the organic market out there. There are hundreds of millions, if not a billion, users in crypto around the world that have no idea about this token, have no clue that it's even out there. And if even a small smidge figures out that, well, they're going to learn about prediction markets, because that's going to be everywhere in the world. And anybody in crypto is pretty smart. They usually say, well, this is a blockchain. What? This is the truth network or prediction network. Is there a token associated with it? Oh my God, there's a token associated with it. And they'll go out. They don't have to be a node owner. That's an opportunity for us to earn the rewards forever on this project. I mean, there's not going to be this opportunity forever. I mean, this opportunity, once they're all sold, is going to go away. And then these nodes are going to be on the open market, like Gala nodes or Solana node. I think a Solana node now is $700,000 or $800,000 per node. I'm not saying at all we're going to be that, but they go on the open market and they reflect the value of the token and the rewards that you get. But we have an opportunity, like we've all said, to buy the cow that produces the milk forever, as long as our cow stays healthy, and we've got a viable project, which we do, and we're just getting started in the world. There's no reason to think that it wouldn't continue to work its way up. And especially when you start creating the momentum that happens when more and more people join, more and more wallets are open. A lot of these big exchanges, folks, require a certain number of wallets. They want to know that 50,000 wallets are actively trading in the PRD token. That's what they want to see. That it's not a matter of money to get on some of these huge, I'm talking about Coinbase, Binance, the crypto.com, the big exchanges in the world. They want to see some activity. They don't want to see a token come on there, go up, and nobody's trading. Obviously, they make money when people trade on their platform. Just like, if you're buying and selling stocks on Charles Schwab, they make a little bit of money on every trade. However, it works. But when this thing takes off and the launch happens, I foresee the organic market taking over, people opening wallets, and then what follows is more exchanges, and what follows from that is the token. It's just a snowball effect, and it happens quickly, like in one day. You'll wake up one morning and go, what in the heck just happened? It went up 100 times. Doesn't happen, like Carmine said, his experience in the stock market. And I have that too, because I have investments that are IRA, all those kinds of things. And if I got 10% a year, I'm like out celebrating. This is the biggest celebration of the year. 10% a year on the money. That's the excitement of this. Is it ever guaranteed? I don't want to, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but it's a possibility. And I've been around these things that have happened. You know my story. You know that I sold out 3 months before it launched. And it was probably the biggest crypto mistake I've ever made. I've made a lot of good decisions. The best decision I've ever made was joining this company and being a part of this opportunity, for sure. And, it's just, it's great to have your perspective, because most of us think that if we get 20-30% return, we're gold. And if we get that on this project, it's great, but it's not in the realm of what is potential for crypto projects, especially ones that are going to take over the world in the business sector that we're in. This is not, building Ethereum over 20 years, 10 years. This is going to all of a sudden explode on the marketplace, and there's going to be, the world is going to be seeing prediction markets in a different way quickly, and they're going to look at which ones are involved in the blockchain, hence look at what tokens are involved in that blockchain. So, I think there's the upside is massive. It really is. And, you pointed out the team, the everything on Galactic is all in the positive direction. And, and now Wall Street, everybody in the money believes it because they're all putting their money in. Like, they can't give it out fast enough. It seems like what, She just went to 23 billion. I mean, its next stop's 100 billion.
Staggering. They don't even have any market share, and they got valuations that high. Is just incredible.
And why? Because people see the future. You're investing in the future. When you invest in something, you're looking at not this second. You're looking at what it's going to do in the future. And we've got some really unique opportunities here, and just appreciate you going through it, Carmine, and giving us your perspective. I appreciate you, man. And thank you guys all, and thanks everybody for being here. And I think for all those note owners, there will be a call on Thursday. So be watching for the link for Thursday morning to update on token swapping and stuff like that. For all those new, get with the person, like Carmine said, and get back to us, because the opportunity is limited in time. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Take care.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.